Annie is a successful businesswoman courtesy her father's business. She took over her father's business after her father went on retirement and gave the company for her to run. As she has successfully run those company, her father now believes she is out of age to get married. And because of that, the father linked her up with one of his business partner's child. Siko and Annie have had their relationship for close to 2 years now, and Annie's father is happy that his daughter and Siko are running things successfully in terms of their relationship. Unknown to Chief, Annie is unhappy with her relationship. Honey always goes to work and always think about how sad she has been in the relationship for quite a while now. Siko, who is also a very successful businessman running his own father's company, does not have time for Annie and have any other relation aside Annie. Anytime Annie visits Siko and try to have private conversation or private moment with Siko, Siko always seek to have pleasure in partying, having fun with other friends, or his computer games. These have been going on for a while and Annie did not find that funny. Annie always goes to work sad. Then one day, Kenny, who is a computer genius in the office, always have noticed how sad his boss is. Kenny always tries to drop some compliments and also cheer her up as he does his work in the office. One day, Kenny told his best friend or business partner Jenny that he thinks he's in love with his boss. Jenny laughed at out and thought that Annie was not in the age bracket or even in his league. Jenny, on the other hand, alerted Kenny that this is not going to be possible. Kenny assured Jenny that Annie is his spec and that he's going to do everything to prove to her that he actually and genuinely loves her. Jenny just laughed it out. Kenny, on the other hand, took it personal. Kenny, in his own little way, started dropping hints of how he is attracted to Annie by giving her gifts, gestures, portraits, notes, and sometimes text messages that are casually but subtle way of telling Annie that he is in love with her. One day after a successful deal has been sealed, Kenny took Annie out for a drink to celebrate the win. As they were on this date, immediately Kenny proposed to Annie and made his intentions known. Annie was shocked and said he's too small for her. Kenny said, well, love is not by age is just a number. Annie said, I'm your boss. Kenny said, I love you. It doesn't matter. Annie could not hold it any longer and left the date. Kenny was shocked, but that did not stop him. Kenny continued to make his advances and gestures as well as compliments to Annie in the office. Annie continued to avoid that until she began to have feelings for Kenny. Now she told her friend about how this Kenny of a guy is making her have butterflies in her stomach. Her friend told her if she's in love, she can't control it. She should go ahead with her feelings. Annie, on the other hand, tried to suppress her feelings, but that did not happen. Annie went to visit her boyfriend Siko so she could suppress her feelings for Kenny. Reaching there, Kenny was playing video games and, as usual, did not have time for her. Annie realized this is not the life she is going to live with Siko. One day, Annie had a conversation in line with her father as to if she does not marry Siko, what will happen. Chief immediately forbids her and said Siko is the only right man for her. Annie tried as much as possible to let her father know that Siko is not her spec and Siko does not understand the concept of relationship and love. Chief said the best decision for her is to marry Siko for their business to strive. Annie realized her father was not ready to listen to her. Annie went to the office and saw Kenny. This time, her feelings began to grow and decided to give this relationship a chance, despite their age difference and their financial difference. Weeks after Kenny and Annie started their relationship, Kenny now told Annie that he wants to be known as her only boyfriend. Annie said this is not the right time because there are a lot of things involved. Kenny said, you know what? I'm not the one to love in a private. I don't want to be hidden. I want to be known as your man. Annie said, there are so many things, again, you will not understand. My father's company is at stake. And besides, you're not financially stable. As their relationship progressed, Annie started having distance relationship with Siko. So Siko realized that she might be cheating. Siko took a private investigator to drill her and realized that her girlfriend is cheating on him. Siko one day visited Annie in the office and saw Kenny beside Annie working on a computer. Immediately, he could read the signs. Siko approached Annie and said, are you cheating on me? Annie said, you have no right to ask me that. Siko said, well, I can see the signs, and if you are going to regret it. Annie said, you do not have that right to threaten me. This relationship had no head and tail anyway. After all, you have other things doing. If you don't have anything to do in your life right now, I think this relationship should be cut off. Siko threatened and said, well, you know your company your father built is at stake if you go ahead with that decision. Annie said, at this point, I do not care. Go ahead and do whatever you want. Siko already went ahead and called Annie's father and reported to Annie. When Annie got home, Chief said, you know what? If you can't run the company, then you should leave. Annie immediately told the father that, Daddy, at this point, I do not care. My life is at stake. You want me to be happy or you want me to be sad. And I am going to choose happiness. Chief could not believe that the daughter is of age and could stand up for herself. Days later, Annie's birthday, and Kenny took her out and surprised her both to ride dinner date and have a very fantastic birthday celebration. As she was going home, Chief saw them and saw how happy she was. But that did not move him. He called aside Kenny and warned him to stay off his daughter. Kenny understood but still stood his ground and said, well, I love your daughter, but if you say and insist, everything is up to Annie if she does not want the relationship anymore. Chief could not stand the audacity of Kenny and left him hanging. Annie went inside the room and said, Daddy, you know what? I have to make decision for myself and for my life. Days after this altercation, Annie's company had this huge business deal to sign with another computer company. This is going to change the life of her company. Annie prepped her staff and Kenny and also other staff involved. As they prepared to sign the biggest deal of their life, unknown to Annie, Kenny is in charge or the head of that company that they are going to pitch to. Annie, on the other hand, has been trying her possible best to avoid Kenny due to the altercation he had with her dad. But that did not stop her from making sure that the prepping for their pitch of this business deal comes to pass. A day before the pitch, Kenny submitted his resignation letter and said he has been planning to resign for long because the working conditions are not good for him anymore, and he has found solace in another company. Annie could not believe it, but at least he explained further and Annie understood. Kenny left the company the next day of the presentation of the pitch, only to find out that Kenny is the owner of the company. Before Annie could even make her presentation, she was already frightened, but Kenny alerted her that she is free and willing to do the presentation. This is no pressure. She shouldn't worry. She is as good as she can be, and he is already aware and knows how the pitch goes. But due to protocol, she should go ahead and do the presentation. She got the courage, delivered a very fantastic pitch to the board, including Kenny, and the business deal was signed and given to her company. After, she noticed that Kenny is as rich as the man that her father wants her to date. So automatically she knew their relationship was going to go somewhere. Kenny now introduced himself officially to Annie as the owner of the company and said that he was working on this company for a while and still being an inmate in her company. Annie said, well, that is a good thing because at least now you are a full-grown man. That was a joke, and both Annie and Kenny laughed. Chief now realized how he was insensitive to his daughter's feelings and invited Kenny and Annie for a dinner. Officially, Kenny now introduced himself to Chief as the owner of the company that just signed a deal with his own company. Chief was so dumbfounded and apologized to Kenny and now officially accept him to date his daughter. Annie was happy that her father was around to witness the good things and also accept her decision to marry someone aside Siko or anyone else that he wanted her to do. Kenny, Annie, and Chief cheers to a good life as they eat their dinner. Thanks for watching this recap. This channel brings you the best Nollywood movies. We save you time and money. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos for more movie recap.